All right, let's dive deep into this book, On the Edge by Nate Silver. It's all about risk, decision-making, and man, this guy's background professional poker player, a political forecaster.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, what a combo. It's what makes his take on risk so fascinating, don't you think? Like, how often do you find someone who's mastered both of those worlds?
Exactly, and that's what we're going to do today. Unpack the coolest, most useful stuff from On the Edge so you listening can level up your decision-making game, whether you're in business, just living life, or trying to figure out, like, why the world does what it does.
I love that. So where do we even start? Silver talks about so many interesting things. One that really stuck with me was that whole concept of expected value. Sounds kind of technical, but
It does. Is it like some fancy math equation or something?
it can be, but Silver explains it really simply. Like, imagine a raffle ticket, right?
Yeah.
It costs, say, $100, but the prize is $1 million.
Okay, so even if it's a long shot, that payoff is huge. Makes you think twice about those odds.
Right, and that's where expected value comes in. It's not just, will I win, but if I win, how much do I win? Like a tiny chance of winning a lot can be smarter than a good chance of winning a little.
So it's like zooming out, seeing the bigger picture beyond just the immediate odds.
Exactly, and you see this everywhere. Businesses use it, investors use it, even just deciding if you should, like, take that new job or not.
You're weighing the potential upside against, like, what could go wrong. Makes sense. Speaking of risks not always panning out, Silver's 2016 election prediction comes to mind. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. His model said Trump had, like, a 29% chance of winning.
And when Trump won, everyone's like, see, Silver was wrong, but wait a minute, 29% isn't zero, right?
Not at all. It's like rolling a die. You might not get a 6 every time, but there's still a chance.
Right, it's possible.
Yeah.
And get this, Silver's model was actually more accurate than a lot of others that gave Trump even lower odds.
It's crazy how people interpreted that. It shows just how important it is to really understand probability, not just see a number and freak out.
Yeah, it's about ranges of possibility, not like guaranteeing the future. Reminds me of something else Silver talked about, those two types of thinking he calls river and village.
Ooh, yes, that's such a great way to frame how people approach risk. So, picture this. River thinkers. They're the analytical types, the number crunchers. You know, like poker players, financial analysts.
Okay, I'm getting it. They're breaking everything down, thinking strategically.
Totally. Then you've got your village thinkers, more about context, relationships, experience, like think government workers, media folks.
More about the big picture, the human element, rather than just the cold, hard numbers.
Exactly. And both are important, right? River thinking is awesome for complex systems, but can miss those human quirks. Village thinking gets the context, but might struggle with, like, quantifying the actual risks.
They're like two sides of the same coin. Are people just born one way or the other, or can you learn to be better at both?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'd like to think we can all develop both, even if we lean one way naturally, but that's something to think about, isn't it?
It is. Okay, so we've talked about expected value, how predictions aren't guarantees, and these different thinking styles. But Silver also goes into specific habits of successful risk takers. What are some of those?
So many good ones. One that really stands out is strategic empathy. And before you think, oh, just be nice, it's more like putting yourself in your opponent's shoes to win.
Ah, okay, so it's not about being soft. It's about understanding them so well you can outsmart them.
Right. Like a chess player seeing their opponent's moves in advance. Silver talks about Mark Cuban, the Shark Tank guy, who always asks, how would I kick my own ass? Like, find his own weaknesses.
Whoa, that's intense. But I guess if you can spot your weak spots, you can defend against someone else exploiting them.
Exactly. And it works in negotiations, launching a product, even relationships, being able to see things from the other side, even if you don't agree with them.
So it's about understanding their motivations, not just reacting to what they do.
Totally. Okay, another habit. This one's called process orientation. Think of it as focusing on the long game, not just one win or loss. Consistent effort, learning as you go.
So it's about having a plan and sticking to it, even when things get tough.
Yes. Silver uses this poker player, Daniel Galfond, as an example. He was down like 900,000 euros in this high-stakes game.
Oh man, I'd be freaking out. Like, how do you even recover from that?
Most people wouldn't. But Galfond, he stayed calm, kept to his strategy, and ended up winning the whole thing.
Wow, that's amazing. So it's about, like, controlling what you can control, even when it feels like everything's going wrong.
Right. And that success often comes from consistent effort over time, not just luck or one big moment.
That's a great point. Okay, what else is there? This is already so much to think about.
Well, there's this idea Silver calls the razor fold mentality. Basically, it's about making clear decisions. Either you're all in or you're out. No messing around in the middle.
So being decisive, knowing when to commit and when to walk away.
Exactly. He uses the COVID-19 pandemic as an example. Countries with clear strategies, whether super strict or hands-off, often did better than those trying to do a bit of everything.
That makes sense. Trying to please everyone can end up pleasing no one.
Right. Sometimes you gotta pick a lane and go for it, even if it's tough.
Man, this is reminding me how important it is to, like, filter all the information out there and focus on what really matters.
Oh, absolutely. It's like information overload is the norm now, and this razor fold thinking helps cut through the noise.
I think we've covered a lot of ground already. Expected value, predictions, thinking styles, and now these habits. I feel like I'm already seeing the world differently.
Me too. And we're just getting started. There's so much more to unpack in On the Edge.
One thing that really stuck with me was that conscientious contrarianism bit. Is it just a fancy way of saying be different, or is there more to it?
It's definitely more than just being different for the sake of it. It's more like having really good reasons for why you think the majority might be wrong, like challenging assumptions, looking for evidence that others are missing.
Okay, so it's about being a critical thinker, but also having the guts to stand out from the crowd when you see things differently.
Exactly. And that's not always easy. I mean, Silver uses the example of Katalin Karikó, the scientist who basically invented mRNA vaccine technology. And for years, like, the whole scientific community was pushing back on her ideas.
Because it went against everything they thought they knew about how vaccines worked.
Right. And look how that turned out. Her work is the foundation for the COVID-19 vaccines. Talk about a win for the contrarians.
It shows how breakthroughs can come from people who are brave enough to challenge the status quo, even when everyone else is telling them they're wrong.
And it makes you wonder how many other brilliant ideas are out there just waiting for someone to champion them? Someone who's willing to go against the grain and say, hey, what if we looked at it this way?
It's so true. Which kind of leads into another habit. Silver talks about selective attention. In a world of constant information overload, that sounds like a superpower. How do you even learn to do that?
Yeah, it's a real skill, and it takes practice. Silver brings up astronaut Catherine Sullivan, who emphasizes keeping the main thing, especially when you're in space, right? Talk about high-stakes decisions.
I can't even imagine. You're up there in this tiny capsule hurtling through space. You have all these systems to monitor, and every decision could be life or death. Being able to tune out the noise and focus on what's crucial seems pretty darn important.
Totally. It's about filtering out all the distractions and zeroing in on the signals that matter most. And it's not just for astronauts either. Anyone who wants to make good decisions, achieve their goals, needs this skill.
So it's about being really intentional with your attention. You can't focus on everything at once. You have to choose what to prioritize and what to, just let go of.
Exactly. And it's not just external distractions. It's also about managing the noise in your own head, right? All those doubts, the what ifs, all those things that can paralyze you.
It's like finding that inner calm amidst all the chaos. Easier said than done, though.
No doubt. But when you can quiet the noise, both internally and externally, that's when you can really think clearly, solve problems creatively, and make better decisions.
This is great stuff. We've talked about expected value, how predictions work, those river and village thinking styles, and now strategic empathy, process orientation, razor-fold thinking, and these last two, conscientious contrarianism and selective attention. Man, it's a lot to process, but in a good way.
I know, right? But that's the beauty of Silver's book. It gives you all these tools to think about risk in a whole new way. And the best part is you can apply these concepts to any area of your life.
Exactly. And that's what we're all about here, helping you make sense of the world and make smarter choices, whatever those choices may be. Okay, so as we wrap up our deep dive into On the Edge, what would you say are the biggest takeaways? What do you really want our listeners to remember?
I think one of the most crucial things is, really understanding probability, especially in a world that feels so unpredictable these days. It's not about, knowing the future for sure, but having the tools to make smart choices based on what we do know, even when there's risk.
It's the future is uncertain, but we don't have to be scared of that.
Totally. Embracing that uncertainty instead of freaking out about it can be super powerful, right? It opens up possibilities, helps us make bolder moves.
And speaking of bold moves, all those habits of successful risk takers we talked about, it's amazing how those apply to, anyone, not just Wall Street types.
I know, right? That strategic empathy, focusing on the process, knowing when to raise or fold, challenging assumptions, filtering out the noise, all of that. It's valuable for literally anyone who wants to make good choices and get where they want to go in life.
It's like a whole new way of thinking, not just about business or investing, but just like how to approach life's challenges.
And as we wrap up, I think it's important to remember something else Silver emphasizes. Even the best risk takers, they make mistakes. Nobody gets it right all the time, but what sets them apart is that they learn from those mistakes, adapt, and keep going.
That's actually really reassuring to hear. It's like permission to mess up sometimes as long as we learn from it.
Exactly. It's all about resilience, bouncing back, always trying to refine your approach. Even Nate Silver, with all his success, he got criticism, right? But he adjusted, kept learning, never stopped.
Man, this whole deep dive has honestly changed how I think about risk. I'm excited to put these ideas into practice.
That's awesome to hear. And remember, this isn't the end. Keep exploring, keep learning, and don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone a little. You never know what amazing stuff you might find when you do.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into On the Edge. Until next time, keep thinking deeply and don't be afraid to take a chance.